again, and welcome to another of Austin's American Flyer YouTube videos. I've noticed that there's a trend where people get stuff in boxes and they videotape themselves opening it. I'm apparently too old to understand that, but for kicks and giggles, I thought I'd do a variation of that. So we don't have necessarily an unboxing happening here, but how about an unbagging? Recently, I had the opportunity to go to a train show, and it's kind of like getting a surprise in the mail. So I wanted to share that with you all. And then also in front of me is a book by a gentleman called David Doyle. And this is a great reference tool. If you don't have one, you might consider picking one of these up. There are some more books out there that delve in a little deeper than maybe what Doyle does, but Doyle has a nice broad scope of accessories of particular cars, engines, sets in O scale, pre-war O scale, HO, and of course S scale. And it also carries some helpful bits. One of them that I like is something they call scarcity. The higher that number, the fewer of these specific types of items are out there. And it helps you know maybe what something's worth. There are prices listed. I think some of that is dated. But I thought today maybe we'd have this grand bag opening and also take a look here in Doyle and just see what does Doyle have to say about whatever the item is. So without further ado, let's look at what we have in the bag. Oh, can you imagine? Who'd have thought? How did someone know I wanted this? So, in front of us is an American Flyer crossing gate, and that has the aluminum crossing gate. This goes on here, and there is a pedestrian gate as well, and both of those are activated by this track trip. And then underneath, there happens to be a little light bulb here that shines up through a pinhole, and that lines up with the little lantern here. So all in all, kind of a neat little accessory. And according to Doyle, this is a number 591. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like, well, I take that back. It looks like this one was manufactured between 1946 and 1948. And it has a scarcity of 5. And that's of a scale of 1 through 8. So, about average. You can find these, they're not super rare. So, there you have it. An accessory that'll be fun to have on the layout. And I don't know if you follow the YouTube videos I posted. I recently put one up called Crossing Safety. And in that video, I used a highway flasher, which was an accessory from American Flyer. And then I coupled that with a Marks crossing gate that I think is from about 1952. It's a little hard to tell, but both of those are activated by trains going through. Something fun to do. And so my hope is that now with this, I'll have the other side of the track. And in my case, it's going to be a 4-track crossing, but we need to keep it safe. So let's see what else is in our bag of surprises here in our grand bag opening. Oh, wow, look at this, would you? Yes, speaking of highway flashers. So we have here a highway flasher. It's got a little box with it, and inside, a little building with it. And in the building, there's a roof there, is a bell. So unlike the other highway flasher you noticed in my video, that's just basically this piece here, this has a bell to go with it. So I guess a real compliment to the crossing gate. I think we're going to have some safe crossings. So let's check in Doyle and see what Doyle has to say about this handy dandy safety device. We turn here. Let's see here. All right. So according to Doyle, this particular accessory was made over quite a span of time. It doesn't say exactly from when to when. And there are several variations. This is a number 759. there are, wow, there are 7 variations to the 759 model. And based on what I'm seeing here, my best guess is this is a Type 2 759 with a scarcity level of 4. So apparently there's quite a few of these out there. Fun. All right. So let's see what else we have in the great reveal here. Hey, 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 look at this. What? A train car. All right, so I want to make a couple observations about this train car. If you happen to go to a train show and there's a chance to maybe pick up a few cars, there's a few telltale signs that can help you determine the age, even if you don't have a book like Doyle or something memorized. The first thing is the couplers. Again, this is a down and dirty history lesson here, so those of you that have this memorized, forgive me for the errors of my ways. But my understanding is the link coupler first was introduced without any counterweight and was a much thinner plastic. And after a very short run, somewhere, my understanding is around 46 or a little before that, they discovered that the plastic would break because it was so brittle. They also decided that, wow, it would be really handy to add a metal weight to help those couplers actually stay down and not become disconnected as the train went over possibly uneven track. So starting in about 46 or so, they added a weight. And the first generation of these weights were brass, hence the gold color as you see on this one. That only lasted about a year. In about 1947, they switched to a black counterweight, and then somewhere around 1952, they switched to the knuckle coupler, which they actually had wanted to do sooner, but there's litigation issues, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's one thing you can look at. Now, couplers can be switched out, trucks can be switched out, so that's not always an accurate way to tell what you're getting car-wise. But here's something else to look for. The body of the car, these also went through several series with American Flyer. They started with a plastic body, then they went to a die-cast body, and some went to a wood body for a short period of time, and some then reverted back to the die-cast or the plastic. But I do know this much: if it has a plastic body, and if there's any warpage on the roof, or if it's a flat car, if it's got any kind of warpage this way, that typically is a telltale sign that you've got a pretty old car, usually somewhere in the 1946-47 era. So let's check with Doyle and see what Doyle has to tell us about this car. It happens to be a Missouri Pacific car, and let's see here. Okay, so the Missouri Pacific car was first introduced in 1946 and ran till 1953. So there's a lot of these out there. There are lots of variations to them. This lists, wow, 9 variations, and they list all those specific variations. The one that we're interested in, I believe, is the Type 4. The Type 4 had the plastic frame. It had a body that was truly a cattle style. In other words, the openings went all the way through. It wasn't a solid body with the slats kind of placed on the outside. And then the color of the paint in this case is white, and that's one of the variations. There were silver was another one, and then they had some different colors. So the color of paint, the body, in combination with the couplers, all of that lines up and tells me that, yeah, this is probably a 1946 version. Now this car is not complete. There typically are these little latches on each door. Those happen to be missing. There oftentimes too is a brake handle, or wheel I should say, and that is missing. But this car is serviceable, which is very nice. It's complete in terms of running gear and link couplers. So aside from being kind of dirty and a little bit of broken step there, or I should say catwalk, and the bow, the character, this car is ready to roll, ready to haul some cattle or other livestock. So, very interesting. All right, let's see what else is in our bag. Okay. Voila! Switches. Is it true? Can you ever have enough switches? Seems like every time I think I've got more switches than I could ever use, I end up wishing I had a couple more. So, here we have two right-handed switches. These are both the remote control, including a double action single remote that works with two switches. And let's go back here to Doyle and see what Doyle can tell us about switches. Okay, so there's a couple distinguishing characteristics. The switches did change a little bit through time. The earliest variations had kind of a cutout here. They weren't solid like this is, so obviously this does not meet that. There's another variation that instead of having these finger nuts on them, actually had pressed down wire attachment similar to what this this track activator is. So that kind of a thing, which obviously these don't. So those telltales tell us, according to Doyle, that this is a interesting. Okay. So what's challenging is these are two right hands, so they're not a right and a left hand. I think based on what I'm seeing here that these are considered 720, number 720A switches. It looks like they were produced somewhere between 1949 and 1956. And again, good switches. I have a whole layout full of them, and most of you probably have them too. They hold up really well, simple but effective. So good to know. Thank you, Doyle, for that information. All right, let's see what